Today is Grover Cleveland's 188th birthday. Here are We're going to start off with an admittedly boring one, but I have to choose 10 facts about some random president from the late 19th century. Sorry. Grover Cleveland was the first president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. And now, I do remember a time when it was the only, and we'll get to that in a little bit. A couple of presidents tried afterwards, namely Theodore Roosevelt, but it wouldn't be replicated for another 140 years until Donald Trump won in 2024. Grover Cleveland was the second and most recent president to take office being a bachelor. He did get married in the White House to his friend's daughter, someone who was about half of his age, Frances Folsom. Grover Cleveland's real first name was not Grover. That was his original middle name. His real first name was Stephen, although he dropped Stephen and went by Grover for the rest of his life. Grover Cleveland decided to become a politician at a really unfortunate time for his political party. See, he was a Democrat. Now that usually means he would have probably an equal chance of winning. However, back in the late 1800s, right after the Civil War, the Republicans were seen as the good guys. He was the only Democrat elected from 1860 to 1912. Grover Cleveland's second non-consecutive term might be a surprise to those people who lived during that time. To one person it wasn't a surprise to was his wife Frances, who, upon leaving the White House for the first time in 1893, would be 89? She told one of the White House reporters, "Leave everything as we found them, for we'll be back in 4 years." Despite his wife's ambitious claims, Cleveland was initially content with just retiring and going back to law. He changed his mind circa 1890, following the blunders of the Harrison administration. Cleveland thought he could do better than Harrison and ran and won. To put into perspective the absolute massive difference between the Democrats' last president in office before Cleveland and Grover Cleveland, most of the Democrats before Cleveland were called Jacksonian Democrats. Jackson left office in March 4th, 1837. Grover Cleveland was born March 18th, 1837. So it was a huge gap. Because of the before mentioned wedding that took place between Cleveland in the White House, before that wedding, his sister actually served as First Lady. That happened once before and never afterwards. The other time was immediately before, when Chester Arthur had lost his wife the year he got elected. So from 1881 to 1885, while he was president, his wife served as First Lady, or his sister, sorry. Grover Cleveland is probably mostly associated with the state of New York. However, he wasn't from New York at all. He just served as the governor of the state and the mayor of one of its cities. He was actually born in New Jersey, and he's actually buried there as well. And lastly, no, Cleveland is not the inspiration for Cleveland, Ohio. That actually goes back to long before he was born. So, yeah, he's not the inspiration of that story. So I guess happy birthday to you, Grover. You're like, what, almost 200 years old? 200 years young. Keep going strong there, buddy.